Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on band FX, and through this song, Will It Always Be This Way? There's a question right there. We asked, we would never, someone in a relationship, we would never want to hear that from our partner. So trust you found that one encouraging. Well, there's a bit of a series going on at the moment. It's funny how these things happen sometimes. We had Full Mark with Break Down the Walls a couple of videos ago. That was all about, hey, we've got to break down the wall between you and me. Last time we had Will It Always Be This Way? And this brings us on to this band that was formed in Perth, Scotland in 1982. We had Kevin Patterson on vocals, Chris Medley on guitar, Graham McGregor on bass, Eddie Jordan on keys, and Mike Ogletree on drums. Thanks to my notes up on the music stand here. And we're talking about the band The Fiction Factory. Now, when I first heard their album Throw the Will Out in 1984, and then that was followed up with Another Story in 1985, and 5 singles released off both of those albums. When I heard that first album, I thought, wow, this is pretty amazing, this album. And it's just one of those albums that is stuck in my mind. Of course, the minute you add a little bit of Scottishness in there, it just makes the whole thing just really, really compelling. So they had a couple of albums, and then there was a bit of a reunion concert at the Rewind Festival in 2011. So that's quite a long time after 1985, and they can still remember the song, which is pretty cool. Now, these guys are very much in the new wave genre that was happening in the 1980s, particularly with bands like Duran Duran. So, as I talked about, we got to break down the walls between you and me. Well, if that doesn't work, and then we've got Will It Always Be This Way? And well, maybe it will. Then we get to where we are today, where we have tried everything we absolutely can to try and restore the relationship, get the relationship on some common ground, and it's never going to happen. And we think to ourselves, well, I couldn't break down the walls. It's just probably not about breaking down walls. It's anymore about coming to some common ground. That doesn't happen, and and maybe it's always going to be this way. Well, the question we've got to ask ourselves is, can I keep doing it or not? Now, if it gets a bit of a situation where you can't, and incidentally, on Throw the Will Out, that particular song, there's a line in there that says, we have to try words. Well, words have been tried and they haven't worked. So what happens now? You either keep in it and you think, oh, I'll just hope for the best and keep on going and do what we can, or does it get to a point where we think, well, hang on, I've got to consider things here a little bit and think, well, maybe, just maybe, I need to call it. Now, I'm not advocating this thing very, very easily. This is a thing that has to come after lots and lots of thoughts and lots of considering and a lot of yes, no, yes, no, yes, knowing. And just really turning your emotional brain, getting your thinking brain on and thinking, well, logically, how's this going to end up? And if you get to that point, perhaps after talking to a couple of people as well, just to keep yourself centered, you get to a point where you need to call up, well, you need to call up. But if there's any slither of hope, of reconciliation, you need to go down that track first. Very, very important. Because in previous videos, I've talked about keeping the door ajar. That is keeping a slither of hope there just in case. Well, this video is taking that one step and saying, well, hang on, the door's kind of closing. Or in the terms of another band, the song Halfway Gone. I'm halfway gone when I'm actually almost all gone now. So words have gone. And so for the person who's had to call it, and they've probably called it under extreme duress and sadness and all the rest of it, they've dealt with those last few days where they've been living. They've had to find a new place to live. And let's face it, that's not very easy to do. But you find yourself maybe on the other side thinking, well, I've got a place to live. It's a bit of a sanctuary for me, and it's pretty great to be here. and now I can get my brain to settle. Now, perhaps one of the things that happens when you have called a relationship and you think, well, I just can't do this anymore, the part of your brain that was constantly devoted to that thing was just perhaps a bit dark and a bit yucky and a bit horrible, maybe it was holding you back a little, well, that brain is now being freed up to do a few and think about some other things. You start to think about, well, this is what peace is like. If this is what happiness is like, you think, wow, freedom even. The part of the brain's not just devoted to that thing anymore. And the song that the Fiction Factory are probably best known for is the song Feels Like Heaven. This went to number 2 in Switzerland, number 6 in the UK. And it's hard to know, like in most things, what the song is actually about. But one take on this could be, if this is post throw the warp wheel out, we had to try words and words actually didn't happen. Well, maybe this is on the other side and thinking, well, this is a bit different, a bit strange, and I'm really quite appreciating this space my brain has got to think about different things. And it feels like heaven a little bit. Of course, if there is a life change, there's a lot of anticipation and expectation about the next chapter of life. But at the same time, the world's just not going to click into gear because you've made a choice. The world keeps doing what it keeps on doing, and you're very much going to have to make your own way in the world. But, it's a world that's free from that yucky thought in your head. And so, very much it feels like heaven experience. But that's not the whole story, right? Because, you're on your own in your place and thinking, well, it's just me and I'm feeling a bit at the moment. So another one of the songs of the Fiction Factory's album is Ghost of Love. So this is very much the case of this is the remnant after love almost, and you're just now experiencing the ghosts of it. Or another song comes to mind, Gary Moore's Empty Rooms, which I'm going to come up to Gary in a little while, very much where we learn to live without love. Maybe there was once love in our life, it's no longer there, and now we get as just this remnant of what we thought love was like. And we're thinking love perhaps isn't the best of things, but it's not love that has failed, it's actually the relationship that has failed. So we find ourselves creeping into this, have I made the right decision? Have I made the right choice? Have I done the right thing here? Because imagine finishing a relationship is a major experience. So am I done the right thing? So of course, with all these choices we make, there is the negative side and there's the ghost of love. And that might resort to panic, which is another song of this Throw the Warped Wheel album out. When you actually stop and have a look at this album a little bit more, you realise how poignant it actually is in lots of ways. And so there could be elements of panic and well, oh shit, what? Oh, pardon the French, but yeah, that's what you're thinking. Oh shit, bloody hell. Yeah, oh God, what am I going to do now? What am I going to eat? How am I going to clothe? I've got to wash the clothes again. I've got to cook again. All that sort of stuff. You start to panic and think, oh man, have I made the right choice? Panic, panic, panic. Because you know what, part of our brain, and I've talked about this before, the emotional brain, the one going panic, 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 the thinking brain, she's checked out going, what? Here's the clothes over. Yeah, what am I going to cook this week? When am I going to wash my clothes? Perhaps I'll do that at a set time every week. When am I going to clean the place? Because it does need to get clean. I'm not going to let myself off of 1 week from cleaning. We need to clean every week. Because, these are the things that happen. And meanwhile, we start to get our thinking brain working back, closing over the emotional brain and saying, hey, we can do this thing. Because there's anticipation and expectation, which is what this thing's doing here, about, hey, hang on a minute. Perhaps my life can be okay after all. And so, yeah, the moving out experience, I'm sure it happens to people all around the world every day. We have these elements of, this freedom of this part of our brain not dealing with this stuff anymore, the ghost of love, and of course panic as well. So if you've just taken that step yourself, let me just say to you, first of all, how brave and courageous you are to do such a thing. You've actually chosen life. And for many people, they don't make that choice. So good on you for doing it. But spare a thought. in the meantime, also for the person who is no longer in your life, be kind, be gentle. And just remember, you don't need to say anything back anymore because there's no reason. There's nothing to maintain. There's nothing to sustain. Just keep the good relationship going as much as you can. So trust that's all been a bit of encouragement for you today. Fiction Factory have provided a really good springboard to be able to talk about this stuff today. Well, onto the clips now. Very much new wave. So we've got the hair, we've got the look, the standard 5-piece, drums, keys, lead guitar, bass and lead vocals. The look, just that beautiful smooth sound, just gets you carried away. Beautiful hooks. And, you know, this song is renowned for its keyboard hook right at the start. And just enjoy, sit back and enjoy what is the majesty and magic of the Fiction Factory. So we do have Feels Like Heaven. Of course, you've got to have that one. And this is the one, this is the song this video has been named after today. Again, number 2 in Switzerland, number 6 in the UK. It's pretty amazing. And we have both a kind of studio version. So you get to see these guys, what they actually look like. And we also got the official clip. Now, interestingly, there's a couple of girls in this particular video. And I'm just wondering whether that just brings back the innocence of heaven a little bit. The feeling of happiness and peace and innocence and all the rest of that. But then the end and how that happens. I'll leave you to make your own mind up about what those two, the children, have got to do with this clip. But we have got Feels Like Heaven. We've also got Ghosts of Love. This is the official clip on that one. We've also got the official one of Panic. Very much the characters portray that image so well. And I just found this really, really good website link to junkutner.com, just talking a little bit more about Feels Like Heaven and what was behind it. This song kind of snuck under the radar for its significance in its lyric writing. And so it's good to just put a little bit more thought in there. Of course, I've got my own thoughts on the song, and it's just a bit of a thought for you to consider and contemplate. You might be thinking, nah, Trev, don't agree with you at all. That's quite all right. No dramas. Well, if you come back for another video, if this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music, welcome to everybody. I do like to say this stuff at the end because it's good to acknowledge those who've hung around to the end. I trust it's been encouraging for you. Well, we're just really getting ourselves close to the end of the Fs now. This is the time to think about now, have I forgotten anybody? and no sort of saying, you know, some bands more significant than others, but you do remember bands as you go along. And sure enough, I didn't remember the song Fairground, the group Fairground Attraction with their song Perfect. So that's where we're going next time. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.